happens. Right. So welcome everyone. Sorry, they were in an intense discussion and I didn't want to interrupt. So thank you all for joining us today to talk about the Pointing Excellent Care introduction for this year. We're excited to look at the changes that are coming for our farmers for the classification system and what they mean for breeders, classifiers and the wider dairy industry. So today's panel brings together a wealth of experience to help clarify the new scoring scale, how cows qualify for excellent points and what breeders can expect moving forward. Whether you're a seasoned classifier or a farmer preparing for your next inspection, this session is designed to answer your questions and provide practical insights. So to date, I haven't received any questions, so we'll just kick things off with a few key ones to get the conversation going, but please feel free to drop your questions in the chat as we go, or there's a raise your hand button in the middle at the top of your screen, and so if you do that, you can see me now, I have a hand up and it's highlighted. So if you do that, then I can unmute you and you can ask your question. So we want this to be as useful and interactive as possible. So please throw your questions out there. And just a note, this session is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube page afterwards. So we'll get underway. I'll hand it over to Wendy, Tony and Graham, and they can kind of give you guys a bit of a background before you get into your questions. Tony?
Right. Thanks, Amelia. Welcome everyone to this webinar. So yeah, this will be the first season where excellent cows will be pointed. Why? It's around the world, excellent cows are pointed, and even though we'd been working on it for a while and thought we would bring in composite traits and then it would be an easier transition to excellent cows, the requests from breeders out there was they were wanting that sooner. So over the last couple of years, we have worked in conjunction with HFNZ to try and bring forward how we could point excellent cows for both societies, and we've managed to obtain the same terms and conditions with HFNZ for pointing of excellent cows this coming season. So we've worked through that and come up with some guidelines and some protocols on how it can work and how it can work in New Zealand and under our current TOP system to be able to do it, to achieve it, what we're going to achieve this year. So a couple of, just three more points from me. So overseas, when they do this, the traits, the committee makes up, decides on the weighting of individual traits that are scored, that then go through the composite traits, which is dairy strength, rump, feet and legs, and udder, and they all have a weighting that make up the overall score. In New Zealand, we don't have that. We just have mainly two traits, which is dairy conformation and udder overall. So that was a slightly different way of how being able to tackle this, but that's what we've managed to do. And so what we have done is then given the inspectors some guidelines of where individual traits should be scored for where they can fit in the pointings for the excellent cows. And then so the system will work in that the classification will be carried out as has been previous seasons. You'll have an inspector to come and classify your cows, and when he gets to an excellent cow, he then has to give her points. And the way we've set it up is that the individual inspector can give up to 92 points, and that's all you'll receive on the day. If the inspector feels as though that there's a cow worth more, he will recommend that to the Holstein Friesian office, and then you'll get a notification that there will be a reinspection for that cow to see if she's worth more than the 92 points. The other area that we needed to consider that we've had to work through was we've already got the multiple excellence after 2 calvings, excellent 2, excellent 3, excellent 4. When we went around the world and investigated this, there was all sorts of different systems and there was no country that was consistent. Sometimes it was excellent 2 related to whether she was 92 or 93 points. She only got the multiple excellence awarded to those points. And some countries were every year, some countries were every 3 years. So we have decided that the multiple excellence of the excellent 2, the excellent 3 will stay the same, as that you've got to receive, the cow's got to calve twice to be able to go excellent 2, and then twice again to go excellent 3. So it's consistent to what we've had in the past. So that's just a brief outline from me. Wendy and Graham will cover 2 other areas. Graham will cover the terms and conditions in the pricing, and Wendy will then cover how the re-inspections for the cows higher than 92 points will happen. So I'll hand over to Graham.
Thanks, Tony. Yep. Well, I guess pricing wise, I guess that was a thing that we certainly had to work on between breeds to get some consistency with the pricings. And the classification committee, when we met, we thought about that as well, and we came up with about 3 different scenarios that we felt could work. And one of those being cost recovery, so the person having the cow that needed re-inspecting would cover full costs. Another scenario was maybe no cost, and then all the costs be divided over the membership. And other scenarios where it's a slight increase in cow fees, all classification all over for everybody, and then just a small one-off cost to cover some of the travel costs and that for the second inspector to go. One of the main things that we wanted was fairness for our members, so that if you lived in Northland or somebody lived in Waikato, it was the same cost no matter where you lived, so that we didn't want to jeopardise any of our members of not receiving or be able to afford to put their cattle forward. We wanted it to be fair across the board. So that from the classification committee, it went to the board, and the board talked about that, and they felt that the fairest and best way of doing it was to put a little slight increase over all our members as far as classification goes, and then a small fee just to cover some of the extra transport costs and wages for the person that has to go and re-inspect. So that's how we've come up with that. And I guess we've been talking with the jerseys as well, because we want the whole free structure to be the same across everyone, because we don't, a lot of our breeders have multiple breeds, and we want it to be as similar as we can across breeds, so that everybody's in the same boat. So that's where we've come up with that. What else was I supposed to talk about, Tony? Was that the main thing? Oh, yes, and also the other part to mine was the pointing of excellent cows and the conditions of that, and how our inspectors would handle that out in the field. So there's quite a bit of discussion on that, and how through our classification people getting their thoughts about it too, and the best way to go about that. It was felt that we would only score up to 90 points in the paddock, and then if the inspector felt the cow was above 90, being 91 to 92, that then if she was in the paddock, then she would need to be moved to a yard or concrete surface if it wasn't a reasonable concrete surface in the area, a hard yard, so that she could be assessed on there to see if she was worthy of any more points above 90. And also, I guess, for the reinspection, once a cow has been inspected and the inspector feels she's above 92, then the reinspection was to be done on concrete, so that the inspector had the best chance of scoring her in the best possible way on the surface that would reflect the traits that she had. Yep, I think that's covered that. Wendy. Oh, you doing reclassification and I've done that on you.
No, you haven't. You've done fine. For the process for reclassification, if the first inspector comes and believes that the animals could be worthy of more than 92 points, they've got the ability to record that in the handheld, and also put a recommended score that they believe that animal's at. It then goes back to the office. The office will then notify the breeder that there is animal or multiple animals that are considered for above the 92 points, and will arrange a senior inspector, either myself, Graham, or Tony, will come and re-inspect that animal and confirm or award the final points. That should be done in a period of 4 weeks. Can I confirm that, Tony? That was one thing.
Yep.
Within 4 weeks of the original inspection, we had to give a little bit of leeway, because all 3 senior inspectors will actually be out doing tours of themselves, so we just had to leave a little bit of leeway. On re-inspection of the animal, we can ask if the animal can be milked out, so she can have milk on her, and we can request that the animal's milked out before we determine the final score. Yeah, so it's really, and it has to be done on concrete. That score will go back to the office, and then the breeder will get notified what the final score is. So it's very much a learning curve of process, and this year will be a first year out for all of us. So it will be interesting to see all these lovely, excellent cows presented to us. So I think that's about all from me.
Awesome. So that kind of gives everyone a bit of a baseline about how the process of pointing excellent cows is being introduced. And Tony's been talking about this from a Holstein Friesian perspective, but this has come in for all breeds apart from Ayrshires. So the pricing might be a little bit different, but the process will be the same for all the breeds. So I'm going to hand over to questions for people, and David's got one. Unmute. Right. So David, if you unmute yourself from your end, then you should be able to ask. Nope. Oh. Alicia, can you see if you can unmute him from your end? If I can.
Doug's got one, I think, is he?
Yeah.
If Dave can't get on.
Doug, if you unmute yourself. Alicia, you might need to do it from your end because you set it up. Sorry, guys. Don't even let me mute you, so. You are welcome to type your questions into the chat area as well.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. My question is, is that clear enough? My question is why, and I don't really care too much about the other breeds, but we're only looking at perhaps a handful of cows in a given area, and I don't really see why that person we always seem to be penalising the people that are trying to get to the top and whatever, and I just, for the life of me, can't work out why you'd want to charge them extra for something that they've achieved. And it should be absorbed into it. And we're not talking a lot of cows. I think there's only going to be a handful. And I just can't, for the life of me, work out why we should be paying. And personally, if I had a cow scored above 92 or whatever it is, I'm not going to milk her out. I'm not going to stand there and go and milk the cow out to make sure the cow's okay to get 94 points. You score her. If she's on the concrete, that's done. And it should be covered by the association, and they should be lucky that that member has produced a cow that's 93 points better and better. I don't know why we're always penalising the people that are trying to get to the top of their game, and I'm okay to pay that if the guy that's getting good 75 pays 100 and something bucks as well.
Now, I guess that's why we didn't go into full cost recovery, because we felt that a bit the same too, that we wanted the people that had those sort of animals to have, not be a burden on them either. So that's why we did put an increase on everyone to cover most of the costs. And then just a small $100 for the person, just to help cover that. We felt that wasn't too much of an inconvenience, but that was the board's feeling at the time. So yeah.
And what's the story with having to be milked out? I mean, we're not at a show. What are we going to scan them, or why do they have to be milked out? It was,
Oh, just
I
like
guess it was.
like
I guess
this.
it was sort of brought in a little bit that one of the things they do overseas when they have their handheld, the first thing they do, which has an influence on the weighting of the scores, is they put in whether the cow's empty, which is 0 to 4 hours, mid, half full, which is 4 to 8 hours, and full if it's over 8 hours. We don't have that capacity with ours, and so it was just a matter of what we're seeing out there with people deciding to present cows differently these days to what was accepted. Our condition says it's normal milking times, but that's just quite variable. So it just gave us an avenue, if it's in there, that we can request it. All right, and that's what it's there for, because overseas they actually have that written in the handheld of how the cow was inspected, whether she was inspected full of milk or whether she was inspected empty. So that's just trying to bring in the system that we can work with.
So you won't hand out 93 points and better if the cow's just done and you walk away, you get in your car and off you go, and the farmer goes back to doing what he's doing. You've got to wait around and have the cow milked out.
Maybe. But the thing is that as you said, there's not going to be a lot of cows. So we've turned up. We're not going to drive in the gate and drive straight out in a very fast fashion, are we? So there is time. It's not as though that we've got a whole herd to do and another whole herd down the road. So it is slightly different. So it was decided that it could be done, and it's just in there. So
I've never heard of that happening anywhere around the world, Tony, Wendy, or Graham. I've never heard of that happening at all. Even a 97-point cow. I mean, I don't know what other people feel. Perhaps they're quite happy for it to be done. But if I presented a cow to you guys, and like I say, I go to the dairy event and we get worked over down there, and we don't need to be worked over on our own farms. I can't understand it. I mean, score the cow and be done with it. I just can't understand it. What's the reasoning behind it, or the discussion, or has Doug decided he needed to have a go at this, or what's the story?
Oh. Tony's just explained to you the story, really, that, we don't, around the world, they have those options. So we've just got that as an option, and it's a trial for this year, and we'll be looking at all the things we're doing from now on to see if that is the right way of doing things. So it's just a safeguard we put in this year for us for our inspectors, really. So yeah,
It's a safeguard.
Yep. Well, if a cow's really overbagged or not, we've got the option of just milking her out, so we can just see how she looks. That's a prerogative we've always got. So yeah.
Personally, I would like as you pointed out, David, that these are the elite cows and will be examined really closely. I would personally just like the option to see an animal milked out if just in case. I just want that option there as an inspector, because we do see animals presented that have got no milk on them right the way through. So I just want the option in there as an inspector, particularly on these elite animals.
I mean, it's almost, and I'd love to hear other people's view, but if I've got not a lot of milk on them, you've arrived here at 9 in the morning and not a lot of milk on, what are we going to stand around till she utters up? I mean, I've never heard of this happening anywhere in the world. Even on a 97-point cow, they're not asked to, oh no, we're just not sure about this. I'd like you to milk it out just to make sure you're actually playing the game right. Anyway, I'd like to hear other members' views of it, but I think for the small number, particularly in the Holsteins, I'm not really sure about the other breeds, but for the Holsteins, I think that if you've got a cow that's 92 or better, First of all, that's great. But secondly, I think that for you to be paying on top of that again is a little bit rich. And secondly, when we stand there and then we've got to wander up and we've got to milk the cows as well, or the cow as well, I don't quite understand the reasoning. It's a bit like, well, congratulations, David, you've got a 94-point cow, but we're not quite sure about you. We'd like to milk the cow out. Does that mean you might give a 96, or are you going to drop her away again? I mean, I just can't understand it. How New Zealand, we have to be a little bit different again. Like, yeah, give me one example of around the world where this is happening.
Well, it is in some countries that they can do that. I know it's there. I can't do it straight off the top of my head, but they are when they're examining the cows, they are recording, and that has a effect in the weighting of the traits. We haven't got that. We haven't got that ability in the thing. So it is. There's different scenarios for different countries around the world.
Be interesting, like you said, Dave, to see what other people have to say. So if there's anybody else on there that got the same thoughts as David, or it'd be interesting to hear from. Yep.
So just thanks, David, for that. So I just want to say one thing, and it's just a clarification for everyone. When you say that you want it milked out, it's the introduction of this and bringing this in. The idea behind it was an animal welfare issue. Am I correct? In making sure that animals weren't overbagged for inspection. That's the original idea around making sure that. So if a cow has milk on it, you're not necessarily penalising a cow for having milk on it. You just don't want her to be in an overbagged state. Is that correct?
We're not under Royal Ag rules here.
Sorry, David, can you repeat that?
Yes, no, we're not at an AMP show or under Royal Show Ag rules here. This is on your own personal farm. And I think it's getting rather draconian that we have, it's okay to bring it in and trial it perhaps after a year or two. Perhaps they need to be milked out and review it. But to have that, I think it's a little bit bizarre. And I'm still waiting for someone to tell me and what countries, and I'll do a few checks to make sure that I'm correct. But I don't know of one country, perhaps Brazil, where they ask them to be milked out. But anyway, I'd like to hear from other people. I've had my say, so I think that we shouldn't be paying for any extra fees. And I don't think the option to have them milked out should be put upon the member either. I'd be interested if everybody said, no, it's fair enough. I suppose we would go along with it. But I think if you bring in rules like that, we're not at a show, we're not under any Royal Ag rules, etc. We're in the Animal Welfare Code on our farms, and I just think it's a little bit too much. That's my personal view, and thanks for the time anyway.
Thanks, David. Doug, have you figured out how to unmute yourself yet?
No.
Yeah,
Have
there
I
he
unmuted?
is. Yes, you are. Yep, you're with us, Doug.
Hey, I just wanted to, is it going to be worthwhile in the first year presenting any cows that are already classified excellent to get a number behind them?
Well, you answer that, Tony.
If the breeder wants to, yes.
Yeah.
So the cows that are already excellent, that won't change. They will maintain the excellent standard because they were awarded excellent before 2025. To get any points, the cow has to be presented from 2025 onwards.
And yes, that's up. Yeah, I was just seeing whether there's any sort of advantage to having all, any cows you've got already excellent, having rather than just being excellent, having a 90 or a 91 or something behind them. And the other thing is, if you put a excellent cow up that's under EX now, and she's not up to re-awarding standard, does she get a 90 or does she stay as an EX?
She would stay as an EX,
EX.
and just to be RW'd.
Okay, no, fair enough. Tough.
Cool. Kelly.
Hello, I'm Kelly. David, I was completely against the fact the majority had to pay for the minority, if I'm honest. I milk about 500 cows. Why should I have to pay for you to get one cow scored? So I think it's a 50-50. I do congratulate you that you have spent the money and the time and the effort getting that absolutely wonderfully good looking cow. But to some breeders, having a really nice looking cow is top on their priority list, but to some other farmers, having a really nice, well-conditioned cow that's producing lots of milk and gets in calf is high on their priority list. So that's my opinion.
Thanks, Kelly.
Selwyn has a question. Do you know how to unmute yourself, Selwyn? In the top right next to the camera button, it should have the mic and you can unmute yourself from there.
I'm still on.
Is that right now?
Yep,
Yep.
we can hear you now, Selwyn.
Now, is that the bottom and the middle?
Oh, okay. Sorry, yours looks different to mine.
Okay, right, mate. Yeah, there's been some good discussion. I'm probably going to get shot by the three wise people at the moment. But one question I have is that we go out and do the inspections up to 92, but it seems to be a little bit secretive that you don't go and tell the farmer anything. You just put in your handheld and go, we'll go back to the office. And I think this would short circuit a little bit of time. I don't think you could say that I've given a maximum 92, which I can give her. I think I recommend for a second inspection. I wouldn't tell the person whether she's 93, 94. And give that person, after what David's saying about paying the extra $100 and other people, wouldn't it cut down the red tape, so to speak, back to Sharon in the office or whoever and say, well, I've been to Doug Cortman's and he doesn't want to pay the $100 and he's quite happy to leave his cow at 92. And then it goes back to the office. Then Sharon has to then ring them or email them and say, cow 45 has been recommended for re-inspection. She's 92 now. And he comes back and goes, no, well, I don't want to do it anyway. I don't think a lot of people will say no, they don't want to do it, but it just seems to be, I don't know, we just seem to be Secret Service a little bit out in the field there.
I think that's a very good point, Selwyn, that if you were classifying here and you said, I've got at the end of it, you said, I've got a couple of numbers there that would like to go for a panel cow. And that's all the needs to be discussed. It doesn't need to be a big secret or anything. It just say we need, say, 150 and 200 for to be re-inspected. It's very simple. I think you've summed it up very well.
I think one point I'd make to you, David, is that what Wendy said, and I'm backing Wendy here, is an option that the three wise people have the option of milk, getting the cow milked out. It's not compulsory. It's not going to happen necessarily, but if they think there's a reason why, like maybe the over bagging or etc., or breaking away in the front fore udder or something like that, and just so that's all I got to say. But yeah, I said I'm probably going to get shot now being a classifier, but I wonder why we can't just in the field go, well, this cow we're recommending to go, I'm recommending, whether she will or not, given a 92 now. And it just would, I think it'll just be a little bit more user friendly. Back to Sharon in the office. And we're talking, I think there's all the cows that I've done this year, and they're not a lot, but I'm probably thinking 1 or 2 cows that I'd be recommending to go any higher. Sure. And then you look on, the thing that's getting me is you look online and see a new 94-point cow and you go, wow, overseas. And yeah, we don't want to be handing them out like Christmas crackers, that's for sure.
No, and I think we've acknowledged that, Selwyn, that there won't be huge numbers. But I think you raise a very good point, and I think that's all you need to be told as a farmer, that yes, there's a couple of cows there that we would like to reinspect. You're in the got knowledge of what's happening, and then you've got the choice.
Yep. Okay.
That's all I got to say.
Thanks, Alan. Tony, Graham, or Wendy, have you got anything else you want to add along that line of discussion?
Probably that it is very much our first year. We've got lots of processes, and we've like in the process of updating our handheld, we've been trying to think of all scenarios. There's so much to take into account when we're doing this. I'd like to think that after the first year, there'll be big discussions and adjustments, and just trying to make the best system work. So yes, there may be niggles in this first year, but I think it would be one of those cases that if we start as we have set here, it's easier to take away things. I know, David, you mentioned that we could add it in afterwards, that we could milk things out. That is very difficult to do once this first season as we go out is going to set the standard or set what we're doing. And it is difficult to add more restrictions on rather than take away as we deem necessary as we're learning. So I'd rather be cautious in the first year. It was something that like we have, as Tony mentioned to start off with, we've been working with the Jersey breed. It was certainly something that they were very keen on, to have the ability to request to milk out. As with the other processes, as I say, I'd be very nice if breeders were of the understanding that this is a new system, and we've worked really hard to try and get to go for all scenarios, but we'll take feedback and adjust as we go to make the best possible systems going forward.
Selwyn, did you have another question?
No.
Okay, cool. Kelly.
I think it's Kelly.
Yeah, so Kelly, have you got?
So just from Selwyn's point of view, so it came from some of the inspectors that and I know when they're newer, and Wendy will say that she felt intimidated in some places, and it is there that they put the recommendation back to the office is just to make the inspectors as comfortable as possible to do the job. Now, that's another reason why this whole process is going to take a little bit longer, to be fair to the person that's putting the cow up, and we're also got to be fair to the inspectors that are inspecting the cows. And so the rules and conditions that we've got in place are there to be able to do the job to the best of the inspector's ability. And that's so some of that is there. You may think that it's a little bit over the top, but the inspectors were more comfortable if this was in place, and they can put it in, and then you can be notified and everything can take it out, because it can be a little bit of an emotional day for some people. So
it is also to be really consistent on the administration side of it. I know, Selwyn, you're saying it's extra work for Sharon, but we have to we cannot get into the scenario of, oh, I just told the inspector that I agreed and we would have it, so I don't have to follow through. There has to be a really clear and consistent and recorded lines for these values. These are, if we're awarding these extra points, they are high value stock. There's a reason why they're doing it. And we have to have the same process for absolutely every farmer out there. It has to be recorded all the way, because sometimes we get feedback that we haven't done it or the inspector should have passed it on. Personally, I would like it done through the office, so there's a really, really clear line and recorded of what's been accepted, because the farmer will need to accept it in writing because of the extra charge, because we can't organise an inspector and go, well, I didn't agree to the $100, so we don't want you out there anymore. So that it's because of what's involved, it is, we kind of are trying to be overcautious on the first year, but we do need very, very strong recording and admin systems.
Thank you, Wendy. Kelly, hand it over to you.
Cool. Hey, do we still run by I'm just Googling as we're talking, the evaluation system for traits other than production TOP for dairy cattle in New Zealand? We still run by those guidelines, don't we?
Yes.
Yes. So right down the bottom of that, on the very last page, it's got confirmation comments, and under udder, it's got blind quarters, collapse broken down, udderedema, bulgy front udder, short front udder, light or dry quarter, da 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 da. And if you have a little inkling about something like that, you'll need the cow milked out to be able to see that. And if she's an excellent cow and she's got a weak quarter, in my eyes, she should go down a point, but you're never going to see that if she's full of milk. So, well, not that I'm a classifier, and I'll never ever claim to be a classifier or a judge or anything like that, but black and white's black and white.
I think in fairness, Kelly, you're not going to be heading to the 93-point stage if you've got a cow with too many blemishes on. I mean, that is...
You'll be surprised what people do, David.
Well, no, perhaps I am, but yeah, you might get it a VG. But you're not going to get an excellent 93. I stand to be corrected, but we're looking at what point, half a percentage point of cows that are possibly going to be in this. So I don't really go along with what you're saying there. But anyway,
I don't. I'm just trying to find reasons for the.
Sure.
For it, and if an excellent cow is an excellent cow, it shouldn't matter whether she's empty or full, or got an empty gut and been stood off, or she should be an excellent cow regardless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, for sure. I think they've got to be the absolute pinnacle of what you're doing, for sure, and the breed.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we agree on that anyway.
Yes, completely.
There must be a few other questions, surely. And we all put our cows up and we have our opinions on it, and everybody seems to have gone mute when it comes
normal, David.
to getting involved. So
it's probably because it's taken so long to get here, David, that everyone's questions are probably gone.
I see someone else got their hand up. Owen Coping is wanting to ask something.
So Owen, you just need to unmute yourself. Yep, go ahead.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, I've just come back from a bit of a trip, and I actually was fortunate enough to cope on Holsteins in the north of Holland, and talking to them and viewing their herd, and they were really supportive of us introducing pointing of excellent cows, because they could never really follow our system anyway. And I was not able to see anything above an excellent 92 cow, an excellent 94 cow. They did have one in the past, but they had an outstanding herd of cows there, and they only had one or two that were like 92 points. So I think that puts it into perspective as to where we're sort of headed. And in terms of why we charge $100 a cow, we had a pretty heated discussion about this, David, around the table, and there was a lot of strong opinions actually about user pays and why we should have a user pays system for people that are pointing excellent cows, because there's only why should all the members pay for just a few people that are wanting to get their cows pointed, and we sort of came to the conclusion that a user pays charging system wouldn't take into account the profile benefits to both the Holstein Friesian breed of recognising the elite cows, and I think it would be compromised by a charging system that all of a sudden you wouldn't have people putting cows up. So we want as many people as possible to put the cows up, and we needed to have a and we felt that it was still important to have a contribution by the breeder and it's a marginal contribution to what the benefit to the breeder is of that getting the kudos of a 94-point cow or a 95-point cow, because we know that internationally it is a pretty high bar that they have to be at to get those pointings. So that's pretty much why we came to that conclusion about charging what I see as a very small fee. In terms of milking out the cows, I remember when I was in Wisconsin about 10 years ago at herds like Ragencrest and Farnier, there was some outstanding cows there that had all been tied up, clipped up, ready to be pointed, and they also had to be milked out. But things may have changed over a decade, but I can quite clearly remember that was happening at that stage. So I'm certainly not up to date on what the very latest is in terms of those policies overseas, and I certainly agree with Wendy regarding that we do need robust systems in terms of recording cows that are being put up for reinspection, and that I think the decision that we made regarding that was around the fact that we didn't want to have too much of an expectation by the breeder that this cow Betsy was going to go higher than 92. So that's really why we have put in place the policy about that it's going to be recorded on the handheld, and then it would come back to the office. The office would contact the breeder and say, Betsy's been put forward to go higher. Do you agree? And that's how it's left. So that's all my comments on all of those points.
As well, Owen, is for the office to check the calvings too, to make sure she's actually even eligible to go up as well before that expectation's been put on the breeder. Yeah.
So Graham mentioned about calvings. Do you guys just want to give a bit of clarification about the age or number of calvings to what level the animals can actually go to? Because there is a difference there. Is that correct, Tony?
Yeah. So the maximum a cow with 3 natural calving, the maximum points she can receive is 94 points. There's different countries around the world will have different levels for 3 different age groups. We looked at doing that at one stage, but the came back, the decision was made that we would, if once the cows had 3 natural calvings, the maximum she can score is 94, and didn't make that too complicated. So that's the only criteria based on how many calvings the cows had. So, and then once she's had 4, Tony, then she's eligible for any score. That's right, isn't it? She's eligible for any score. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It was another point that we discussed, and that's where it came to. So.
And then the rules are still the same in regards to her getting her excellent 2 or excellent 3, that it be 2 natural matings between each
Natural
excellent
castings.
count. Yeah,
Yep.
natural calvings, yes.
Yeah, we decided to continue as that has been in the past. When we researched it, as I said at the start, when we researched it around the world, there was certainly every country seemed to have it slightly different. So there was it wasn't going to be consistent with what majority of countries did. It was quite different. So we decided that it was to bring in, that was one thing that was going to stay the same as we've been doing. So it's recognising the same value.
But you are able to put your cow up every year if you like, for repointing as long as she's had a calf. So you won't be eligible for the E2 or E3 to go up in the middle years, but you are able to put them forward to be re-looked at to see if they warrant any other points. Yep.
And for those animals that have been, and this will not apply for this year, as this is the first year we're doing it, but I guess the rules that state at the moment is a cow can't drop her excellent pointing. So that would still be her pointing in general, but that would still be the case for any animal that's pointed excellent. She would be dictated as remains excellent if she can't go higher than her previous score. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Great. So you kind of mentioned a little bit before, Wendy, about timing. So how do you think farmers should prepare for this season's classification to ensure that they get the best results on their classification going forward?
Hasn't changed from any other years. It's all the only change that has happened is that instead of the excellent cow, whether she makes that standard or not, it's really how far above that standard she is. So everything else is exactly the same. So if you present your animals as per a normal classification, nothing's changed really. It's as soon as we hit the excellent, it'll just mean that the classifier will probably take a little bit longer. When we used to come across these cows that were easily 9-9, so it was just 9-9 excellent, and they breeze through. We're now going to be taking a little bit extra longer to go over these to actually determine those final award points.
So I know that we've had Sharon in our office has been working tirelessly the last couple of weeks trying to get classification numbers in, and people have put up larger numbers than they normally would. So would you recommend farmers like that to break those cows into smaller groups and bring them in small groups to make it go more smoothly for the inspectors?
Yeah, and again, as always, I always recommend that I would prefer, instead of if you've got 150 animals, I would prefer to see kind of groups of 50 or 60 at a time, and the rest out in the paddock so that they're not on the concrete the whole time. It just tends to flow a little bit better, and it's a lot easier on the cattle. So yes, same as always, and really recommend that we don't bring cows on at 9 o'clock in the morning and we're still going there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and they've been standing on the concrete the whole time. But
the other side to that is just making sure that it is going to take more time this year, is to make sure that the breeders can help by making sure that they have cows presented in a timely manner and for the inspector, so they can get through the job and they're not under pressure at the next farm they have to go to. That it needs to be work in conjunction to make it all work very fair and reasonable for everybody. So
if we have members that, sorry, Graham, did you want to add something? No,
it's right. You carry on.
So if we've got members out there from any breed and they want to get a better understanding to help them adapt to the pointing excellent cow system, where would you recommend that they go?
Is it not the rules in terms and conditions for classification have adopted where the pointing of excellent cows is going to fit in this year? And the milking out one that David mentioned is that the board decided that it needed to be in general terms and conditions this year. So it's in there. It's the general terms and conditions, and the pointing of excellent cows criteria, I think, is in the terms and conditions of classification. I'd like to think I'm right.
Yeah, which can be found on the NZ Holstein website or the corresponding Breed Society website. That was where I was going with that, Tony. Have we got any other questions from our people that are listening? I don't want to hold people up too much. We always say these only go for an hour and we've only got a few minutes left. So last opportunity for people to throw us out some questions. Everyone seems happy. So then I'll just, Wendy, Tony and Graham, do you guys have any last comments or anything that you want to make in regards to the introduction of pointing excellent cows, or, you know, what you think or how you think this is going to go for everybody? Oh, Graham left us, so he must have felt that was a no. There he is.
You go, Tony.
Oh, well, it's an interesting, another step for New Zealand, and yes, every other country has been doing it for quite a while. It's how we could fit it into the system. It's about marketing and branding. That's what the final awards are all about. Is that's what it is. We understand that, and it's been able so these people can you know, it's going to branding is a certain standard that it is, but it's trying to fit the system into how we operate it on our very seasonal basis, and it's just work in progress that hopefully we've managed to cover as many of the things that we need to bring it in. Yeah, I'll just go back that I think it was 5 years ago the Jerseys changed their system to the iCar Awards. We're now five years on from that, and then with them, you know, it's in conjunction with the Jerseys that we are now bringing in the pointing of excellent cows for New Zealand, and I think it's an interesting time, and people are certainly, I don't know, certainly intrigued about it all, and that it'll be interesting to see. It's going to create some discussion, and I hope it's all positive.
Yeah, probably from my point of view, I think it's exciting times to point these cows out there. It is a case, as Tony said, that we've tried to go through a lot of scenarios. There will be adjustments to make in the future, but a lot of time and effort's gone into trying to make it the best as possibly can, but there will be always room for improvement and an opportunity for feedback to see where we can improve. And no system's perfect around the world, so we won't be the first to be perfect, and so we'll probably enjoy the positive feedback coming in the future as we get out there and start pointing these cows. It'll be nice to identify some of them.
Graham, your final words?
I guess just from my perspective, as still being a board member, I guess as a board member, you're always looking for ways and services that you can help your members and grow your membership and give the members that we have more opportunities, and that was certainly one of the ones that we've looked at in the past, and so I'm excited to bring this to our members. I think there's quite a few out there that are pretty excited by it, so hopefully they still are, and yeah, this is something that, yeah, that, like Tony said, they can use for their marketing and branding going forward. And so, yeah, really excited to get this underway and see how it goes for the year.
Great. Well, that brings us to the end of our discussion today. So I want to thank you all for taking part in this conversation around the updated classification system and the pointing of excellent cows. A big thank you to our panelists, Wendy, Tony, and Graham, for giving up your time this evening and sharing your insights and helping us navigate the changes ahead. If you have any follow-up questions or need support as we move into the 25-26 classification season, which starts in 2 weeks' time, or a week and a half if you're me, please don't hesitate to reach out to your breed society or your local classifier or your local board director. And as I said before, we've recorded this session and it'll be up on our YouTube channel, so you can feel free to revisit it or share it with others who might find it helpful. So thanks again, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks
Thank you.
everyone. See ya.
Thank you.